We'll start here. Hello everyone. Welcome to another interesting workshop of IBC 2.0 Continuum by IBC Media. IBC 2.0 is the second edition of a massive 5-year agenda. We are enabling the largest blockchain ecosystem initiative in India. And today we have Mr. Sergey with us from Unique Network. He will be taking us through Unique SDK to rapidly deploy complex NFT bundles. As you already know, Polkadot is our headline sponsor, and together we are hosting the IBC Hackathon. In case you haven't registered for the challenge yet, then please check out the link in the chat and register yourself. I'll be putting the link in the chat box. Now, before we move on, I'd like to talk about one small tool which is very useful when you sign up for a hackathon, which is Discord. It helps you connect with the mentors, your fellow participants, and the community. So make sure you scan the QR code which is about to come on the screen. Scan this, and you can be a part of our Discord community. Now, Sergey is development team lead at Unique Network. He's a critical thinker and has always played a pivotal role in teams during his career. It's nice to have you with us, Sergey. Over to you now.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here today. So I was told you are going to have hackathon soon related to POAPs, some QR code scanning and stuff. So today my duty will be to showcase you how easy it is to switch from Web 2 to Web 3 using our network on our SDK platform. So I will go through all the simple stuff. I will show you how simple it is, and well, probably will remove some fears among the working with blockchain technology in the first place, because it is actually very simple when you think about this. It's not far away from just working with some REST API outside. I would like to share my screen first. Let's see if it works, and should be good. Anyone from the room to confirm that I'm sharing my screen, please?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yes, great. Thank you. So first of all, I will present this project that I prepared in advance before. You can find it in our repository until we move it away. It will definitely stay here for a couple of weeks until we will decide to clean it up. So how can you find it? First of all, you can just go to Google Unique Network and GitHub. So one of the first links here will be our space on the GitHub, this one. Maybe somewhere someone will provide the link. Here you can just type in the search IBC and you will find the repository. This is one that I'm showcasing to you today. Here you will be able to find what this is about. It's a very simple thing to do. Just how to start working with Unique Network, how to create collection, how to create NFTs, and also how to work with nesting, which is a bundles that we will talk in the end. Also, some of the main links are provided here, so you don't have to look anywhere else. So it's basically our documentation that you can find here, as well as SDK, so you know what to install. Also, you can find all the information about this over here, as well as, for example, some pages for REST API as well. So we also have a REST page where we will look into a little bit later as well. Unique Wallet will be required for us a little bit later. It's just a visual tool that we will use to work with our accounts that we will see a little bit later. Just give me a second. Also, we will be working with Polkadot extension. So as you heard, we are working with Polkadot, and we also using their extensions that we will take a look just in a moment. Also, a little bit of remark. Today, unfortunately, Opal network is on maintenance. So we in Unique Network have multiple networks to maintain, while Opal is for testing environment that can be used by anyone and such, and Quartz is more of a production environment. So unfortunately, Opal is on maintenance today. It should be live tomorrow. So I will present to you on Quartz, but I will leave all the links here on how to work with Opal. If you want to work with it today with the Quartz, you can ask Philip, who is with us here. He may just give you some coins that you will need later on. If you're working with Opal, you can just go to Telegram bot by following this link and just send them your wallet address, and you will get all the tokens you need to work with. And Yeah, an extra link for Swagger SDK. In case you're too lazy to search for it in documentation. We will have a look on this one later today as well. So you want to start with Web3 development. First thing we need is ourselves and a wallet. Wallet is essentially a sort of account that we use to do actions. On blockchain, if you want to do any reading, you don't need account. So if you want to do any read actions, you can just call it without any address, account, or whatever. You can just do it at any moment. For example, I can just go here and, for example, get a token from the blockchain. So I can just go and get, for example, token from the Thieves collection, the first token. I can just go for it, and here we go. There's no such token. Probably someone just burned it down. Maybe we will have some luck with the force. Yeah, here we go. Some test token was on the network here presented. So for reading, I don't need any account at all. But if I want to do any mutation methods, I will need an account, and I also will need some funds. That will be very clear to see on wallet, for example. So first of all, you need an account here, and you also need some sort of currency. For example, for Opal, it will be Opals. For Quartz, it will be Quartz. So today we will be working with Quartz. So I will have to switch it here. And for example, if you want to create an NFT for some collection or collection itself, you will always have to pay something. For example, well, it doesn't calculate it here, but it will take a little fee for transaction in the first place. And no, I need an image. Yeah, so for example, it will take a little bit of Quartz to complete the transaction. So just as an example. So where do we get the account? The easiest way is to install Polkadot extension. That's what we will do right now. If Zoom will allow me, please. Thank you. So you can just go to this link and install a Chrome extension. I already have it here. Here we go. Here we will need a new account to work with. So we can create a new account right now. Seed phrase is basically your login and password simultaneously. So this is the most important thing to have. And you need to remember it or save it somewhere. I will create a completely new account that we will use today for our today's workshop. Give me a second. And yeah, and we need the password. Of course, password is for your machine. So if you have a seed phrase that we copied from previous part, you can always restore the account. So password is just for your convenience. It needed to sign transactions. We will see it a little bit later. And here we go. So we created it. It should be over here. So we created a new account, and we can actually see it on the wallet page. I need also now, once since I have a new account, it's actually empty. So unfortunately, we have no money on it, no Opal, no Quartz, and we will need a little bit of Quartz. So I will send myself a little bit of money. By the way, just before I forget, let's save a seed phrase here. I will show you where I saved it a bit later. So I need to get some money where I can borrow some money. I will borrow some money from here. So
I have no Quartz to give you. Hi.
You have. I was told you have. So it's
okay. Okay.
It's not my problem. So go and find it somewhere while you have time. You have approximately half hour to actually find it.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. So I will send a little bit of money to myself, to my newly created account. By the way, I will leave this account in repository for today. So after we finish, I will push the changes to GitHub. So if someone wants, this seed phrase will be available today. So you will have 150 Quartz to work with. By the way, this is how transaction sub. So type a password that you saved before and sign the transaction with it. So transaction is to, in our case, send a little bit of money that we will need for today's demo. In case you will work with Opal, you will be able to do exactly the same thing, but you will have to just take the address of your newly created account like this, and just give it to a bot in Telegram. Just send it as a single message, and you will be awarded with more opals than you can ever spend in your lifetime. So very genuinely genius. But now we have 150 quartz, and we can start rolling. So what we have here, first of all, we will need two things to work with our SDK. First, we need a seed phrase. This is account that will perform all the actions. So this is the one that will subscribe all the transactions for us. So if we want to subscribe a transaction, we need a login and password, which is essentially a seed phrase, our wallet. And also we will need an API link for SDK. So SDK uses different packages. You can find all this information in documentation and stuff. But for simplicity, just to keep your sanity and to make things once again as simple as possible, I recommend just using the REST API related package, which is basically called SDK, which we can find here. So this one actually just makes requests to REST API and provides a very good, well, basically interface for you to write the code that we will look into later. So we will need this link and this seed phrase that for account that we created before that will be used to sign all the transactions for us. Now to actual coding. So this part, as I mentioned, it will be super plain simple. So we will use SDK. First of all, we will just initialize it for our convenience, just put our seed phrase inside of it so we can use it. So we don't have to sign all the transactions, it will be done automatically and stuff. So we just need to do a very basic initialization of a class. Nothing special here. Except for the way how we create a signer. So this one is a little bit inconvenient, but once again, you can find it in the database and stuff. So we just take a keyring provider from unique NFT accounts. It's another package that is related to working with all the wallets and stuff. So we can create a signer, the one that will sign all the stuff. Address is something we will use a little bit later. It's just something we need to save. Once again, we have a seed phrase. Seed phrase is a login and password. It's not your let's say ID, not your username, not your wallet address. So we will need a wallet address later for some transactions, for example, to know where to mint stuff, where to send stuff, etc. So let's just save it here for now. This one is just for some debugging. And here we will create our instance for SDK. And I think we can start. We will follow along the lines with console. So I added a little library here called prompt to actually work with all the stuff. And yeah, I forgot to save environment, sorry. And yeah, it will take us step by step through the process of working with some very shallow co-op example. So first of all, we will create a collection. So collection essentially is our sort of schema or a box. So it defines the properties of what can be put inside. You can think about this in technical terms as a class. So it defines on structure, how it should be set. So it will provide us with some sort of validation, with rule sets, etc. And also it will be our box where we will store all our NFTs that we want to create later. So all the NFTs are tied to some collection. They cannot live outside of collection, and collection can be actually empty. For example, right now we created a new collection, and we will see how we did it. So creating a collection seems a bit, well, hardcore, but only on the first glance. With a good example, it's very straightforward and very simple. It's just basically, once again, just make an object which is very obvious to make, actually. First of all, we need an address. This is just a necessity of SDK. You just have to provide the address that makes the operation. The name of collection, description is pretty obvious. Token prefix is something that is used just for convenience later. It's just a short naming for tokens or for collection in the future. It's necessary part in the same way as name and description. So this one is just has to be here.
But Sergey, it's limited to 4 characters, is it? And we can use letters and numbers, right?
I'm not sure about
The token
limitation,
prefix,
actually.
yeah. Mhm.
Actually, never looked at if we have any limits, but I also never seen anything longer than 4 symbols. But I
Yeah,
guess
right.
so.
And please increase the font size on because some people will have small screens. It will be a bit difficult for them to read. Thank you.
I have a small screen, actually. Well, let's see how I can do this. Actually, I'm not a big fan of presentations. Let's see if this will help. Maybe. Okay, too much. 80 maybe. I guess this should be much better. Yes, I'm sure.
Sweet.
Yeah. So the most important part for us here will be schema. This one defines which properties we can put into NFT. Once again, I want to remind you that we are creating a collection, not a token. Right now, we are creating a collection. And we define a schema. Schema will be what properties we can put to a token, a part of the basic one. So once again, name and description are basic properties that every token has to have, as well as token prefix. So this is a necessary part. You could not take it off. Schema, on the other hand, is less important. It's something that can be, well, put on the way for most part. First of all, we go with what schema we use. This part, please just keep it as it is in documentation. Those are our defined standards. So you can provide whichever standard you want. You can create your own and stuff, but it's very complex stuff. It's more of a root level. So if you just want to work with our network, just keep it as it is and just don't touch it. Cover picture is the image for our collection. So each collection has an image on it. So if we will take a look, for example, on scan, it will be a very good place to go as well. So each collection has its own picture. So for example, we will have Velociraptors here. So this is a collection picture. So this is a picture for NFT. This is a picture for collection. So we set up a picture for our collection. If you want to follow some rules for the images, for token images, we can use URL template. I'm not going to show you this thing now. If you're very interested on what it is, you can look into description. I will just show it on Velociraptors that actually use this feature. If I will be able to find it here, and I don't seem to be. Can I copy the image? Okay, I'll just look right here. So yeah, if you can look into the URL, I will put it here. You will see that it uses this part with a number. So basically, what it means is that it used this as a URL for the template. And it was something like this. And yeah, I'm not going to show this even deeper. It's just for in the case you want to make many NFTs with different images and such, you can go with it. We also have a different workshop that was done by another Sergey recently that actually showcases this case in case you are very curious. So schema version as well, just very technical part. And attribute schema is what we put inside. So this is just a metadata. We can put here whatever we want, like names, counts, just basically whatever. So once again, if you look at Velociraptors, we can see that they have body colors, skin patterns, shapes, something like this. All of those are attributes schemas. And here we just provide its name. Pay attention to this lower dash. This one is used for translations, for translation reasons. Unfortunately, it has to be here. It's just something that is very inconvenient, but you have to keep it in mind. So it's always good to have some example in your hands. But it's we actually have a very strong, a very nice typing system here. So typization will actually show you that there is an error. So if you missed, for example, this low dash, as I did as an example, typization will show you everything. So TypeScript is a very powerful typization tool for our cause. So even if it's JavaScript and not something better, it still works precisely well. Type is what type of the property you have. You can find all of them in documentation, or you can also always just go into the typing itself. For example, just go inside of it very, very deep, but you can always find all this stuff here somewhere. So for example, those are the types that we support, like integer, Boolean, strings, URL, etc., etc. So for now, we will just use a simple string. Array is here mostly for enums. So if, or not for enums, sorry. Array is here for if you want to make it multiple choices. So if you want to allow many different options for something, you can turn it on. I believe Philostratus doesn't have this option, unfortunately, so it's cannot show an example quick enough. And optional is basically what it means. So whether this property should be filled or not. So if this one is true and you try to create a token without providing it, you will receive a validation error. So once again, as I said, collections are a validation tool in itself as well, simultaneously. I was also asked to show you some more complicated and different stuff like permissions. Here we go. So token permissions is something that I would suggest you not touch at all, because it's something for very specific cases. So basically what it means that when you create a collection in blockchain, this collection cannot be changed by anyone else. It's immutable in itself, but you can change who can edit stuff in it. For example, you can say that owner of a token can change the information inside the token. You can say that the owner of collection can change the collection, or collection can be changed only by its creator, because collection, like a token, can be given to someone. So you can give a permission to, not a permission, you can give a collection to someone else. So ownership can be transferred, but you cannot transfer who created it. So you can originally just stay admin of a collection, even if you transferred it. So we have a lot of complex stuff under the hood that you can utilize if you really want to. It might be useful for some scenarios. It's really hard for me to come by with, but flexibility never hurts. So this is an example of what fields you can change. So you can just change who can edit the collection, like collection admin. Can it be changed at all? And can the token owner change, well, the tokens by itself? Can token be changed by collection admin at any point? Can be changed at all, and can it should be changed by token owner. I also provide this information about what the default values. So as you can see, it's just mostly just restricted completely to the owner of collection. So you as the owner of collection by default can edit this collection in case you messed up, which, well, can happen at any point with any of us. It's also very useful when you use this feature with infixes. So for example, if your database down for some reason, you can always change it, and it will be applied to all the tokens you in your possession. So you don't have to change each individual token as well. So very useful to have. So I'm really pleasant with default values here. And moving forward, this one is setting up some more complicated permissions. I'm not going to show those things at all, except for the nesting. So this part should be enabled if you want to be able to nest at all. So by default, this one is actually false. So by default, you cannot nest any token into another token unless this was turned into true. But once again, speaking about default values, this can be set at any moment by default, because if this one is set as true, this option can be changed at any moment. So if you forgot to create a collection and allow it to be nested, you can always just go and say, well, I changed my mind, now I want to allow it. Or you can change your mind and disallow it at some moment later. Now, when we have everything set and gone, in our case, we are creating a collection for attendees. So basically people, and I just created with two parameters. So we will have only two attributes, first name and last name. So very, very simple. And this collection will be created by just calling where did I? Oh, I didn't split, sorry. So yeah, we just call in the creation method. It's just a simple method. We call it always with submit and wait result. It's something that you better use always, because this one allows you to use promises. So you can just wait and wait for result, because if you will go with just submit, in reality, you will receive a response immediately, because the call was sent to blockchain, but it will not wait for this call to be finished. When you make a call into blockchain, it has to, well, let's say do some calculations. I don't want to go into very deep details on mining and stuff. So let's say you just need to do some stuff on blockchain side for 10 to 15 seconds. And that's also why it takes so long to finish those operations, like create a collection. And once collection is created, we can get the results of it. In our case, we are interested with collection ID. I send it as a result of function here. So this is what we called, and we got our collection ID. And this collection was created that it has an ID of 646. Let's see how it looks like. Now we go to the wallet again. Okay, all the links are here, very convenient. We can also just look into the collection itself here as well. So let's look in the Swagger just once. Better look. So we can just get this collection here, and we will see all the stuff that we said before, as well as all the default things like limits that we are not interested in, and it's very specific case as well. It only obviously false, some permissions, mostly default ones. Give me a second. Did I forget to put this here? Oh, wrong network, sorry. Wrong network. Wrong network works, please work. Okay, let's try it again. This one was 646. Yeah, much better. So we have it in true. We also have the owner. This is my address that I just created. And we have all the attributes that we set. This one is plain view. This is how it looks in blockchain. So it's not very user-friendly, obviously. But once again, when we work with SDK, we can do it in very obvious way. This is our schema, for example. So more human-readable form. And it's all that we set. Is URL to the image, infix that I left as an example, and so on and so on. So all the stuff that we put here. And we can actually see it in our wallet as well. So if we'll go to my collections, we will see our attendees picture. And here it go. Now we don't have any tokens here. So we need to create them. In that case, we will go and create tokens. This one will be much simpler, because we don't have to create the schemas and such anymore, but there will be a little thing that I want you to be warned about. So blockchain is, let's say, a very softy thing that is very cautious. I would use the word cautious. And it actually cannot work with huge amounts of actions. So if you want to mint, for example, 10,000 of tokens, it will not be possible. So blockchain will just go and tell you to get away. For that, I will strongly advise you to use smaller numbers. For example, I was told that 200 is usually a middle ground that works most of the time, but I would still suggest you go with 50 at a time. So don't create more than 50 tokens in a moment. For now, it's your safest bet, because if you try to overload the blockchain, it will actually just consider you as a, let's say, threat, and it will just ban you, sort of. So this little code is my example of how to go with bulk uploads. So we will just go and mint by 50 tokens at a time. So in my example, I will mint only 10. Let's save some quartz and not waste a lot of it, but we will mint 50 at a time. Basically, we will just go and mint 50, 50, 50, 50, and so on until we reach the amount we need, for example, 10,000. So it will have to be done well, just 20 times, I guess. No, 200 times. So not that many. How we create tokens. So this one is create 50 tokens. And this is how one single token will look like. This one is super simple. So we just need data, which will be an image. I used just plain URL, and I also used an index of image. So as I said, I didn't use prefixes here just for simplicity, but it basically just emulates the same approach. So this one just will put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 4 PNG files, and we will see what it is. Also, we need to provide our attributes. So pay attention at order, it's important. So 0 and 1, 0 was our name and 1 was our second name. This one is just a value. That's all, we don't need anything else. And for creating a token, we just call create multiple. We once again provide the address from which one we do. Collection ID, basically in which box we want to put our tokens, and just an array of our tokens. In our case, it's 50 tokens that we will create here. For this example, it will be just 10. And simple as that. Nothing else needs to be done. And let's run it and see how it goes. As I said, it takes a little time to process all the stuff on blockchain. So basically, operation is done on our end, and we just sitting here with this await on this wait result part. It should take approximately 12 to 16 seconds for each operation. So in this case, it should be done in around 15 seconds. And yeah, we created 10 attendee tokens. So it's our people. And let's see. By the way, we are inside this collection. Hello? Did I screw something up? Did I screw something up? Wallet might be a little bit late with scan. Yeah, Wallet uses a little bit different tool for scanning. It may be delayed a little bit, so it's not taking data from blockchain immediately, unfortunately. So that's why it happened. It's not like blockchain took a while. It's actually our website. I wouldn't call it an issue. It's actually a feature. So we have our workaholics, which we used this image here. So there is just the first one. So we created our 10 attendees. Each one has a name. In our case, if we will take a look, we will not take a look here, but each one has its name and second names that we provided over here. And basically will be name 1, second name 1, etc. Now we will try to create participants. This example is just something I'm made up and it doesn't make a lot of sense. So we will just make another similar collection, mostly exactly the same. I didn't change much except just did it a little bit simpler. So I removed some permissions stuff, for example, and that's all. The schema for participants will be very similar as well. It will be just an event name. That's all. So we will put people into the, well, we will put events into the people later on. So we created a new collection, 647, and we used exactly the same logic to create our POAPs. And I'm not going to line by line once again, because it's exactly the same as you can see. I even just removed some. This one I actually changed. I changed the picture. No need to do here anymore. Have you created? Yeah. So we have participation, and tokens will be here just in a moment. Just in a moment. And here we go. Here we have all our participants. Now we need to put one token into another for bundles. So bundles essentially is just a tree where you can put one thing into another. And I cannot describe it better than just a tree. So for this, we will have to just put one bundle into one token into another, and it's done in a very simple way. It's just a nest method. Once again, just a very simple call. Address, as usual, we just provided, deal with it. Parent, we show who will be the host. We have a nesting limit of 5, so you can make your tree down up to 5 levels at most. And you do it by this. You just say who is going to be the parent and who you want to nest inside, which will be a nested. So just say token ID and collection ID in both cases. As you can see, we have 2 different collections. So you can put token from one collection into token of another collection. So in our case, it's event token will be put inside the person who is attendee token, and it will be done like this. Very simple. After that, I will, let's start it running. So while it's nesting, I also showing how to get the bundle itself, and we will just display it in the console because Wallet does not support bundles yet, so it does not show these wonderful trees, but it will eventually. I believe it's going to be updated very soon. You will be able to see your results on the Wallet page as well. And at any moment, it will finish making a bundle. Yes, it's done. Now we can see that it's completed, and we can see that this is our token from the collection 646, authentic collection. So the first one we created, and inside of it, we can see the token of the next collection of the collection 647, like this. And yes, that's all for now. And I also left a commented example over here that you can transfer token to someone else now. For example, for your case on the hackathon, you want to send these NFTs to a person after they scan a QR code. So you can build it up and then send it. Or as an alternative, whenever you create a token, when you make it, there is a very interesting field that I somehow missed. I guess I missed it. No, yeah, I forgot to talk about this. It's just an idea for you to use. For example, you can just mint it on some address from the beginning. So you don't have to mint it for yourself for the seed you are using. So not for, no need to do it for this one. You can always just go and mint it directly to the recipient, to the target. So you can just scan a QR code and mint it at the same time. So after you scan the code, you know whom do you want this token to do to be created to, and do it. Same way goes for the nesting. For example, you can always mint a token inside the other token as part of the nesting. I believe it's covered in documentation. So if you want to explore this part, you can always do so as well. And yeah.
So Sergey,
that's all.
that would be like airdropping a POP into another account, right?
Yes. So you don't need to do a transfer for yourself. You can just directly create it on the target account.
Sweet, thank you.
And that's all from me. I hope I did it in time. And yeah, I'm ready to answer for some questions if you have them. As I said, very short and very simple.
Perfect. So I just wanted to mention that the bundles, they can nest NFTs, non-fungible tokens, and fungible tokens as well. So this can be a very complex structure if you want it to be.
Guess I went too fast and no one has questions.
Yeah, checking our the YouTube stream, and we have streams going on too, so we'll just check for questions there. So you have one question. This is an anonymous question. So is what is the basic knowledge required to start off understanding the unique SDK? So if you're a basic Rust developer, does that suffice?
Just basic programming knowledge. So if you know how to work with REST APIs, you are good to go. So there is no need on any deep knowledge or understanding. There is a little bit of stuff you need to figure it out, of course. So there is some knowledge, but it tied to any platform you work with. So for example, if you want to make an integration with, I don't know, let's say with Trello or with Jira, you have to understand how this thing works. But a part of this is just REST API. You have documentation, you can work for it. And here you don't need any extra specific knowledge. For example, if we will go to Ethereum ecosystem, you need to know much more. First of all, you are completely binded to Solidity. So you cannot work without smart contracts, without Solidity stuff. You have to understand how to deploy this stuff, how to work with network, like what the truthful is, and basically what's Web3 stuff working. And for unique, it's more of intuitive approach. So you just see a box. This is a collection. Token is created inside, and all of that is done through REST API in a very simple way, very similar to any other tool you use or something else. So hope it answers the question.
Okay, thank you. All right. So another follow-up to what you said. So is there any tool like unique for Solidity-based systems? So what is it unique to?
This one is more complex approach. So yes, we have what's called EVM inside our unique network. So you can work with Solidity smart contracts. It's completely supported. It's natively supported. We also provide a lot of new features in near future. For example, we will provide some extra API for Solidity contracts to work with our chain directly. Right now, we use something called Ethereum mirrors, where you just use some of your accounts from unique network in a way where they are treated kind of like Ethereum ones. It's really hard to explain in a very similar ways, but in a very simple way. But basically, yes, EVM is supported. If you have any existing Solidity contracts or you have any experience, you can do that. But this knowledge is not necessary. So if you really want to migrate something complex or do something that is already existing on the Ethereum network, so basically if you are migrating, it might be a good idea. If you want to write some smart contracts, yes, this is a way to go. But if you want to work with something simple, for example, create collections, create mint NFTs, sell NFTs, etc., you might be, well, I would say 80% chance that you will be good with native tools on our end.
So the reason for that being that since the unique network is optimized for NFT handling, these calls that you saw that Sergey was displaying in the demonstration, they're actually calls to our network, and they encapsulate a lot of operations which make it very, very simple to just call creation of a collection and call creation of an NFT, and then just simply nest something instead of writing a contract for how to have it done. The blockchain, the unique network does it very simply, and the SDK allows you to do this with JavaScript calls. Now, the interesting thing that was that you had a chance to observe is when Sergey was using the Swagger, he's actually using the online calls directly. He's using the Swagger tool to directly address the on-chain service and to interact with the blockchain. So that's a very, very useful tool.
All right. Okay. So we'll take one last question. So this is from another anonymous user. So would you elaborate more on NFT to NFT interactivity and how does it play a role in Web3 gaming or NFT gaming?
NFT to what, excuse me?
NFT to NFT interactivity, if that's a property for NFTs, right? So just elaborate more on how that works and what it is.
Not sure if I got the question correctly, but I guess there is no real interaction between NFTs themselves. So it's basically on your side and up to your imagination on how to treat things. So NFT is just a thing. You can do with it whatever you want. You can create it, you can move it, you can transfer it, you can change it, and you can delete it. And you can take two NFTs, so two things, and you can say that they interact. And what you want to do is not to make them interact. What you want to do is to make some action, some result of this interaction. So for example, if you have a game, you have two NFT, let's say, characters, and they, for example, fight, and one character wins, so the second character dies. Now the question is, what in terms of your game you want to do? And you have many opportunities, and it's all up to your, once again, imagination, to how you want it to work. You can, for example, treat it as a actual kill, and you can say that if this character died, I will burn this NFT, and you just burn it outside of blockchain. This character doesn't exist anymore, it's dead. You can edit it. You can just put a flag that says he's dead, and you can keep this NFT inside the blockchain as a history, like it was here and it was killed. And for example, you can put it was killed by this character and leave a link to the killer NFT. Or you can, for example, say that this victory means that winner takes loser, and the owner of the characters that won can just take the NFT of loser, so which is basically just a transfer of ownership. Hope I got the question correctly and gave answer. If not, try to maybe rephrase it a little bit to put me in the right direction.
No, I think that answers the question. So I think we would be concluding the workshop here. Is there before we conclude? Is there anything else you guys would like to say, Sergey, Philip? Anything you'd like to add?
It was a pleasure to be here.
It was a pleasure, truly.
Okay. Yes.
All the materials are available through the links that Sergey has provided. I suppose you will be allowing this to be reviewed again. There is a recording of this. You can go through the segments of the presentation step by step. Essentially, Sergey has very closely followed the procedure for what it looks like to create it, and it's a really useful kind of guidance tool for you to get up really quickly to get into working and creating and both collections and NFTs and nesting. And I hope it will be a tool which will kind of be your rocket to accomplishing the challenge if you're so inclined to do.
Right.
That's all from me.
That's all right. Thank you so much. So I think we'll be.
Yeah, no, I agree. Hi, Dhruv. Hi, Philip. Hi, Sergey. Yeah. So Philip, this is Praveen. Praveen. I think this was a very interesting session today, and we, like you said, people who are working in the NFT space and they are looking to build, things around NFTs. I think this makes their life much easier. So, guys who are participating in this workshop today, this video will be available on our YouTube channel as well, IBC Media. And if there are things which you do not understand, please reach out to us, and I'm sure Philip and Sergey will always be there to help you demystify things if that is required, so that your journey and your leveraging the tools will become easier for you. So thank you so much. Thank you, Sergey. Thank you, Philip. For today's session.
You're welcome. On the Discord, we'll also have Sergey Kozlov and Sergey Okishev to assist and in the mentorship during the sessions as things developed. So feel free to ask the questions, as Praveen said.
Right, Discord is a platform to interact and ask questions. So I think that's it. We'll be concluding. So first of all, thank you so much, Sergey. Thank you so much, Philip, for joining in. That was a very interesting session, valuable takeaways. So I would thank everyone else for joining this workshop and making knowledge sharing so fun and exciting. Now, before we sign off, just a quick reminder, the Discord QR code is right there on your screen. So as we had mentioned right now, make sure you join. You can use Discord to ask questions and clear all the doubts that you have or any questions that arise. So we also have lined up 4 hackathons leading to the main one at our conference in January, which is a great platform for you guys to implement what you have learned from our workshops. The registrations for the IBC hackathons are filling fast, so hop on and do register. I'm just sharing the link in the chat box here. So make sure we register, and I've also shared the link to our social channels. So connect with us on our social channels to stay updated with all of these workshops that keep happening. And of course, this workshop will be uploaded on YouTube on our channel. So that is included in the link. So you can go check it out. And earlier this week, we had a very interesting conversation with Philip. So we had a fireside chat where Praveen and Philip were there. So I highly recommend you give that a view too, to get a very basic insight for Unique Network. And that's all. Thank you so much for being a part. Stay tuned. Thank you so much.
Goodbye.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.